All right,
Is it
we're recording.
recording? Oh, we're recording. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Sean.
And I am Andreas.
This is the Sean Andreas Podcast. We're coming with you with another episode. It's been a while. A little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, we originally had a guest from the last recording, but we ended up just having to, because I kept getting into contact with them, but I haven't gotten a response, so we're just having to just have us two today.
Which is totally fine. It's always good to see our two ugly mugs here on the screen talking some basketball.
Is it though?
Maybe debatable.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can get into some of the discussion today, and I guess the first thing we can jump right into is the MVP discussion. So I think that Joel Embiid is the favorite in the MVP race right now. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think if if he stays a little more healthy, I believe he's a lock for it, and they stay first in the East.
So I think that LeBron has really fallen with like the loss streak and the loss of AD and all that. It really doesn't help his narrative of winning the MVP this year.
Yeah, and then also, I believe same thing can be said about Dame as well with this
Oh
streak
yeah,
they're on too.
if if Dame kept winning games, I think he would be front runner for MVP. But he just lost like what is it, three in a row now that we've lost?
I think it's 4 or 5, maybe 6.
I don't think it's that far, but Nikola Jokic, he's been pretty good. He hasn't looked like I don't know, like the last little bit, he hasn't looked like the best player, like the MVP. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I mean, he's still in the discussion. But a player that I do really want to talk about in terms of MVP race this year is actually Steph Curry, who is leading the. I mean, we can just ignore last night. Let's just forget that ever happened for a moment. Um, the uh, the Warriors are playing super super well, and it's really because Steph is playing like his MVP season in 2016. Very similar statistics, a little bit worse efficiently, but he also has a lot less weapons.
yeah, and honestly, I'm if the Warriors at least get to a 4 or 3rd seed, there could be an argument about him being MVP as well.
Definitely, I think if he's third or higher, I think he's like almost a lock for MVP.
As long as just nothing bad happens like yesterday.
Well, I mean, every team has games like
Yeah,
this.
I
Even like
know.
the
Yeah, I
even
was
like the
just
KD Warriors and stuff had games like that sometimes.
yeah.
But last night, which was the Warriors versus the Lakers game, where the Lakers were like up by 20 or 30 basically the entire game, and it did not look pretty out there at all.
Yeah, it I stopped watching at the end of the first half, and I just saw Twitter going crazy about it.
Speaking of games from last night, there was a very particular game between the Hornets and the Kings, where the Kings managed to blow an 9-point lead in the final minute by missing 8 free throws in a row. I've never seen a team miss that many free throws in a row at the end of a game.
Wait,
Never.
that happened?
Yeah, that happened. I'm not kidding. 8 free throws in a row. They missed.
Damn, that's crazy.
Insane. It's ridiculous. I don't know how that fucking happened. Like Luke, I've always said that Luke Walton. Ever since last season, I've said that Luke Walton is not a good coach. He's a very awful coach. He
Can I
should
say
be fired.
is this on the players or is it on Luke Walton?
Well, Luke Walton had very bad defensive assignments also in like the last couple minutes of the game that allowed the comeback. But the players also are to be blamed because they didn't hit their shots. But like there's bigger issues here than just missing the free throws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Luke Walton and there's also a game. Speaking of bad coaches, Scott Brooks and the Washington Wizards Scott Brooks has been an awful coach for them. I don't know how he still has a job there. He's had a job there for as long as I can like fucking remember. And he was the coach of the Thunder back in the day, and then he went to Washington. Hasn't done jack shit except made the playoffs like what is it twice. Um, and yeah, this team does not look good with him coaching them. It looks super bad.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what else to say other than Bradley Beal just having to carry the entire team.
And can I talk about how poorly they're misusing Denny Avdija? Because the one game Bradley Beal sat out and Denny Avdija was playing, he looked phenomenal. You remember that game?
Yeah,
We even talked about it in an episode. But ever since like it's Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal playing, he's coming off the bench now, and they just have him sitting in the corner. I mean, like this dude was someone that was like handling the ball and like taking players off the dribble and like playmaking, and they're just not letting him do anything. They're just like making him sit in the corner and catch and shoot.
even so, it's like he's not really like shooting that much.
No, he's not. I mean, it's just like it's a piss poor coaching job, to be honest. Um, we can't talk about how Danny Ainge has said publicly that this Celtics team is not able to win a championship and is not a championship caliber team. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I don't blame him for saying that. Didn't know he said that, but
Don't
yeah,
you think that's kind of like an asshole thing to say to your players? Like,
yeah.
that's
Don't get
pretty.
me wrong. That's not a really great thing to say, especially to your team. But at the same time, is
It's not wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not wrong from my point of view. Um, I think that the Celtics are still in a pretty decent spot. They do have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown locked up for the foreseeable future. These are two young, like all-star level talent players. Jason Tatum is like a very, very good player, uh, and I say he's easily like probably a top 15 player in the NBA right now. Uh, some players should say he's like just outside the top 15. I say he's in the top 15. But um, I don't know. I think that this team is not able to win a championship this year, but they still have a lot of pieces. They have a lot of good players on their team. I'm just wondering to see what they do to make moves.
I mean, I would say center and everything because they definitely need rebounding.
I mean, they have Tristan Thompson. You wouldn't think, right?
Yeah, but would there be other centers coming this free agency or the trade deadline? I wouldn't be surprised if they try to go for another center,
I think they might try to go for someone like Andre Drummond.
and then they would have to shop either Kemba or Marcus Smart.
Um, well, that depends because I think that the Cavs might be looking for a buyout market for him, which I think that I'm not sure if the Celtics have a disabled player option or not. Um, but even if like he could go to any team he wants, he could sign a minimum there because he did get his bag. He could sign like a 1 year minimum to the Celtics, or he could like try to sign like a bigger team to a team that still has like cap bigger deal to a team that has cap space still. But if I were him, I would probably go to a team like the Raptors or the Celtics, or one of those teams that needs him at a void for like a 1 year or 2 year deal at a pretty like cheap. You know what I mean?
Funny enough, that could possibly go back to Detroit too.
I don't think he's gonna do that. I don't think he wants to go back to Detroit. I mean, I wouldn't want to go back to Detroit.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
fair. I would just say that would be a funny storyline if he ends up just going back.
Him and Jeremy Grant, the greatest duo of all time.
Don't at me.
All right. I guess the other team we can really talk about is the New York Knicks, who are fourth in the Eastern Conference right now. They are actually one game above 500, which should say something about how bad the East has been this year. But uh, in other news, they are not only like a playoff team, but they are favored, at least if the league were if the playoff was to be determined right now, they would actually have play home court advantage in the first round against the fifth seed.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say going into the season, I thought like I think everyone thought that the Knicks would be like a lottery team again.
Yeah,
So it's a little
uh,
surprising to see how well they're actually doing.
and it's mainly because of one man and one man only. Have you seen the take where someone said that Julius Randle is better than prime Chris Bosh?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I've seen takes like that. I've seen takes saying that prime Julius Randle's better than prime Chris Bosh.
Oh my
Give me your thoughts on that.
god. I didn't really watch much of Prime Chris Bosh, so I can't really say anything.
So he believes it. It is confirmed that Andreas here believes that prime Chris Bosh is worse than current Julius Randle. All right, thanks for the hot take.
Wait, what? Bro, I swear, people are already ready with their Twitter fingers.
Yeah, they're gonna be at you. They're gonna be like fucking typing some mad shit. You're gonna be featured on some YouTube channel or something.
One of them's probably gonna be like, "Yo, ratio,
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna at you ratio, not even like reply to you.
bro." But technically, I never even said that he's better though. I just said I never
Just said
watched Prime Chris Bosh.
you just said no comment. You didn't say yes or no, so uh, interpret that however you want, fellow viewers that are at home, on his take.
Bro, sorry, I'm about to have a field day.
Jesus Christ, this is gonna be a mess. I guess we can talk about our team a little bit. So we lost pretty badly to the Lakers a couple nights ago. Give me your breakdown on that game.
I mean, they were fine in the first half. Like they were actually hitting their shots and they were playing well defensively. And then suddenly just the Lakers just go on a run in the second half, and then poof, the leads go is they're blowing them out.
And I actually went back and I watched that Game 5 versus OKC in 2019 playoffs. I rewatched that game, and I remember every detail of it. I remember how we were down 15 points and in the fourth quarter, and how we rallied back, went on this crazy run to tie it up, and then Russell Westbrook turned it over, and then Dame just took this 40-foot shot, fucking step back over PG-13. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
And then the shot before that when Westbrook missed a three or missed a shot, and then Dame just came
Just
back and
layup.
did a pull up deep three. Just did.
Yeah, and then remember whenever I think it was Paul George hit a pretty tough layup, and then Dame just ran down and did another tough layup to tie the game back up.
Yeah, but honestly, from what I'm seeing, a lot of people saying the problem is just Terry Stotts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that he is a major problem. His ability to scheme a defense for this team and run offensive plays. I'm not sure if you saw that Twitter video,
Oh, I saw.
Yusuf Nurkic and CJ reacted to it,
Oh, I
and it was
definitely
them
saw.
just running across the screen or whatever,
It's
and then
just all
shooting
ISO, and then just Melo posting up.
shooting a fadeaway deep 3-pointer.
Bro,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that's that was the funniest thing I've ever seen for for Blazer stuff.
I mean, hey, it's true though. Terry Stotts, thank you for your service, but Yeah, we got to get you up out of here. I think there's some other coaches that deserve the shine. I think we could even sign Dame's good old friend. Is it David Vanterpool?
Yeah, David Vanterpool.
That's it. I think we could probably sign him. I mean, there's a lot of good coaches around the league that like Kenny Atkinson. I don't think has a job yet. So I think we could still go after someone like that. There's a lot of coaches out there that I think would be, just a fresh start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of on the neutral side for it. Like, I, there's parts of me that likes Stotts, but another part of me that just doesn't like him.
Also, I think we probably need a new medical staff because the injuries we get every year at this point getting a little ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's kind of just reminds me of the Pacers currently, or not currently, but like what they've been like for the past few years.
Oh yeah, with like Paul George and Danny Granger and all them. Yeah.
Danny Granger, and then now just like Oladipo, and then Demonis, like last year.
Yeah, luckily DeMontis is looking even better this year than he was last year. So,
Yeah.
and I guess we can also talk about we talk about the Mavericks a little bit, and there's a little bit of a trade rumor going around with Kristaps Porzingis. And who won the trade between the New York Knicks and the Dallas Mavericks? And if the Mavericks are actually going to trade Kristaps this trade deadline, what are your thoughts?
Um, it's honestly really tough because they're gonna have the Mavs pick this year, and assuming they don't make the playoffs, that is a that they have at least one lottery pick.
So the trade, I believe, was Tim Hardaway Jr. and Kristaps Porzingis for
Dennis Smith
Dennis
Jr.,
Smith Jr. Was it
De-
Alfred Payton?
DeAndre Jordan.
Oh, right, DeAndre Jordan, who they then traded to the Nets, or they released him. I can't remember which.
I think no, I think
And
they kept him. Then he signed with the Nets the offseason.
right, and then he was a free agent. So they lost DeAndre Jordan for basically nothing. They just traded Dennis Smith Jr. for, was it a second round pick?
Yeah, pretty sure a second. And then
And so the main asset they really got there is that first round pick. So is that first round pick going to be worth anything close to Kristaps Porzingis? Probably not. I'm going to be honest with you.
depends on how they draft.
I do think that this draft is actually a really good draft. I think this is probably one of the better drafts in the last like 5 years or so. So, what are your thoughts on the draft? There's Jonathan Kuminga, there's Jalen Green, there's Cade Cunningham.
I mean, I think this is honestly the one year where I haven't really paid attention much to the draft and just looking at all the scouts in college.
So what I usually do is I pay very minimal attention to like the real time of what's happening with the draft prospects, because I think that if you kind of react to them in real time, it's a very reactionary point of view, and you don't really get a grasp of their entire body of work. So I try to wait until the season's over, like the college season's over, before I start looking at like everything that they've done, their highlights, their lowlights, what they're good at, what they're not good at. Give them a full season to really show me.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna. I'll probably at least like watch like March Madness and then see you look at some of the prospects.
So, have you been keeping up with the Oregon basketball team?
Women's or men's?
Men's.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So who's even on the roster this year? Because I have no idea. I don't pay attention to like rosters all that
I mean, the
much.
only one I really remember is Will Richardson,
And
and
he's projected like a late first, right?
late
Or early second.
late first, but I think he's probably gonna stay for another year. And then a lot of the players are just transfers, but but some of them are actually He's pretty good. Who? Someone I think should at least go in the late first round. Chris Duarte.
Really? So give me a little breakdown on him.
He's basically a scorer, and from what I've watched so far this season, I just love his versatility because he can shoot, he can distribute, and then he can play a little bit of defense.
So what position does he play?
It's either point guard or shooting guard.
And does he have like really good handles?
Um, I'd say he's in the middle with it.
He's like mid with the handle.
Yeah,
Hmm. So that's pretty tough. So if like I knew his height, if he's like 6'4" or above, I could say he could probably play like a small ball shooting guard type style. Because if you're a point guard in the NBA, you have to have elite handles.
yeah,
Even like the worst point guards that get like heavy minutes, that get like rotational minutes, have like comparatively to even like college, elite handles. So, but like so I think that it would be pretty tough for a player who doesn't have like super good handles to get like a lot of minutes in the NBA right away. You know what I mean?
yeah.
All right, and so I guess we can just touch on this a little bit. We were gonna do this with the guest,
Okay,
but
I saw. I'm looking at it right now. He's 6'6" at shooting guard.
so he definitely can play shooting guard. Got it. So again, we were gonna talk about this with the guest who we had on last week, but due to the errors and a little bit of technical difficulties dealing with that,
Yeah,
we weren't
he's
able
just
to
been really
get to
busy
it.
though. So I don't blame him.
Oh shit, my bad.
It's upside down.
My shit fell. Is it upside down? Wait, hold on. Why is it upside down? There you go. That's better.
Nope.
Wait, why is it upside down again? Okay, is that good?
Yeah. All right, you're good.
Holy shit, I've never had that happen before. Jesus Christ, my camera fucking fell down.
You hate to see
All
it.
right. So we were gonna touch on this with the guest, but we weren't able to get to it. So I kind of want to get your take here. Who do you think is the GOAT?
Um, you know, I would when I was younger, I would just say you. I would just say you like Michael Jordan is the goat, hands down. But then thinking about it now, for me, it's just like you can't really compare them because they were you two different eras.
So I believe that not only do like stats and like the dominance matter, but I also think like the way you do it also matters, right? I don't think like 6-0 in one respect is the exact same as 6-0 in a different respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or like winning a lot of games in one way is not the exact same as winning a lot of games in another way. And I think the way Michael Jordan managed to do it um, is something that I have like never seen since or before, besides like Bill Russell. But Bill Russell's kind of like 8 teams played back
yeah.
then, so
There's
it's
kind
not
of just like
exactly
a little asterisk to it.
yeah, it's not exactly the same. So it's the level of
But at
dominance
the same time, it's like you
added.
kind of still have to like respect it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like the level of dominance added with like the level of like the stats and individual accomplishment mixed with the way he did it, and all of it kind of culminates into like almost like an almost perfect like career. You know what I mean? Like an almost perfect like GOAT resume.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think that if LeBron wins another ring this year or next year or something, he'll probably be my GOAT.
Yeah, I could see that for me, but I honestly just don't like doing the whole goat conversation because it's like it's one of those things where I'm just like I understand people actually want like people's like opinions on it, but at the same time, like it's I just have the side of why can't we just like appreciate greatness?
Yeah, but you always kind of like have some opinion on it. You know, everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody has their 2 cents. Everybody wants to hear somebody else's 2 cents.
Because honestly, the way I think it should be going as like as in the sense of like the greatest player of our generation.
Hmm. That's an interesting way to think about it. But then there's still some like gray area with that because like LeBron and MJ, like MJ retired the year right before LeBron came in, but like LeBron was super dominant in like 2007, 2008, 2009. So that's kind of like a weird era where he wasn't like the best player in like on the Wizard, but like I think you get what I'm saying. Where
Yeah,
there's kind of like a weird gray area here, where it's not really a generation of like you know what I mean?
yeah.
I think there's some like overlap. There's like eight 8 year period where like I don't know, you could say like Shaq or Duncan or Kobe even, but like none of them are really like LeBron or MJ or like Kareem or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, because if it was like that, the way I was saying it should be, I would say '90s Jordan, 2000s Kobe, and then 2010s LeBron.
You'd put Kobe over Duncan.
Um, think about it now. That's actually a little tough, but
Yeah, I think I would personally have to go with Duncan for the 2010s
yeah, I think I'd still
because
go. I think I'd still go Kobe.
he had both his MVP seasons that year. He had his best like defensive players, defensive. He didn't win DPOY because Ben Wallace cut them like 15,000 times.
I don't
But
think he ever won though.
no, he didn't. It's because Ben Wallace cut them. Uh, but he had his best defensive years. He won. He won in 1999, so that doesn't really count. 2003, he won. He won in 2005, and then he won in 2007. And he also beat uh, Kobe in the playoffs. What was it, like five
Oh four.
times? He beat them. No, he didn't beat them in '04.
Yeah,
He beat them.
he beat
He
Kobe and
beat
Shaq
them
in
in oh
'04.
no, because in '04 they went to play the Pistons in the finals.
Oh, you were talking about Tim Duncan. I thought you were talking about Ben Wallace.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Tim Duncan in the playoffs. He's beaten Kobe in the playoffs like what 5 times in the 2010 or 2000s. Because I remember 03 he beat them. He beat Kobe in was it '07 he beat them, and then they beat them in what was it 2006 or was it the Suns? I can't
It was
remember.
the Suns in '06.
I swore they had so many matchups and like Duncan came on top like
It was
every
mostly in
time.
the early 2000s, I believe.
Huh. Well, besides that, I think you get kind of the idea of what I was going for there.
Yeah, I get what you
Um,
mean. And yeah, there is an argument for that too.
like even like head to head, I think Duncan probably played at least on par with Kobe, but also had better team success and almost like better individual accolades too. Like I almost kind of want to say that. Kobe does have like a lot of individual accolades, so it's kind of hard to say that for sure. But Tim Duncan is one of the like top 10 players of all time. So
Yeah. And even so, I still see people like get just saying like saying the stigma of like, oh, he played under Pop, but it was you oh, like it was a bad he was played through a system. He's a system player.
so I think this is a similar argument to football, where it was Belichick and Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, where they were saying he's a system quarterback.
I think that under no circumstance does a system automatically make a player a GOAT player. No way does that ever happen. Does just like some random player become a GOAT player because of a system? You have to have the talent of a GOAT to become a GOAT level player, no matter what. I think that that's a pretty good baseline to set in terms of like individual accomplishments. Like no random person can be put no like so you could say like who is a player that they always say if he was put under Belichick's system they would have done better.
Mostly a lot
Like
of
on the Jets,
defensive players.
like who was a Jets quarterback? I think it was that was like MVP back in like the early 2000s,
Like
or
Jets
it was
quarterback?
not. I don't know if it was the Jets or if it was the Giants or if it was
Oh, I mean in the Super Bowl or
the quarterback for um
for the Giants?
like shit. I'm forgetting their
Eli
name.
Manning?
But they were like in yeah Eli Manning. I think not just Eli Manning, but there was also other players in the same era who they were saying like is more talented. Uh, you, I'm not going to get into that argument, but they're saying that is like more talented than Tom Brady, and that if they played in the same system of Belichick that they would have done better than with Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
see people on Twitter like have that take all the time. That is very debatable, but
I
um,
mean,
like
also he proved it wrong this year.
yeah. So the thing about players is that they have to actually make the plays, no matter how good the system is. If you can't make the plays, then it doesn't matter. And any player that can make the plays is a GOAT level player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's most and the thing is too with speaking of a system, there it's basically the system's like team basketball, not individual basketball. Like
Yeah. It is fair to say that Tim Duncan had more help in his career than Kobe did for some periods of time. Mind you, Tim Duncan never had a teammate like Shaq or something. But like in the 2005, 2006, 2007 season, Kobe didn't really have much. He had like Smush Parker and like Kwame Brown on his team. And Tim Duncan's basically always had like Manu Ginobili or David Robinson or Tony Parker or Bruce Bowen, and then like even like Kawhi Leonard later on in the career. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
but
I think that is one argument.
yeah, but I see people talking about the whole Kawhi one, and it was like this was like before he became a great player.
Kawhi still was DPOY while Tim Duncan was playing. 2014, 2015, and 2015, 2016. And they were contending for championships in those years. They didn't make it and they didn't win, but they were contending. Um, the Spurs in 2016 were 67 win team. They were second in the playoffs, or they were second seed in the West, and they lost to the Thunder in the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly,
So,
I still can't believe they lost that game, and
so
that was
I
the
think it
last
is.
moments of Tim Duncan.
So I think it is fair to say that Kawhi Leonard did play like prime Kawhi Leonard did play with Tim Duncan, even though he wasn't like his offensive prime, but you know he was like DPOY and a very 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 good offensive player at the time.
Yeah, I could see your argument right there.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one time DPOY; it was 2-time DPOY. So, which is actually pretty hard to achieve. Like Rudy Gobert accomplished that, and he's like one of the best defenders in the NBA.
Yeah, and then
Speaking of DPOY, who do you think is DPOY this year?
I already told you I got Ben Simmons,
Ben Simmons, that's a fair choice. I think I'm going Miles Turner. I think he's my front runner.
and then there are I don't know why I get the feeling that they're just gonna give it to Gobert again.
I maybe they probably will just because of the team record. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I don't think he deserves it this year as much as maybe some other guys do. That's just my personal like outlook on it. He deserves to be in like top three conversation though
yeah,
in terms of DPOY this year. But I don't have him winning it. I don't think he has. I think that Miles Turner does more with less, and is a better perimeter defender than Gobert is.
Yeah. And honestly, I just feel I would say Ben Simmons is mostly because it feels like he can just defend anywhere from 1
One
through
through
5.
five. Yeah. So that's also like a different argument. That's kind of like how Draymond Green won it in 2017, if you remember, because he was kind of the same player back then,
Yeah.
who could defend like 1 through 5. Um, I don't think players who actually can defend 1 through 5 are as good in terms of defensive impact as elite defensive centers, uh, because I think that most shots still happen at the rim. So if you're a player who can impact shots at the rim better than anybody else, then you're probably gonna have a lot more defensive impact.
Yeah. And yeah, I can see that.
All right, and then what is your take on the coach of the year? We kind of talked about this earlier.
Yeah. I told you it's. I feel like this year is actually a tough race, even though it may not seem like it. Um.
Definitely, I think that for me, it's between Billy Donovan and Doc Rivers.
Yeah. I honestly think it should go to Monty Williams.
Monty Williams. What do you think about maybe giving it to the Lakers head coach Frank Vogel this year?
Um. I'm honestly not sure.
Or maybe Tyronn Lue deserves it.
Yeah, I could see
Or
it.
maybe even Tom Thibodeau.
I mean, if they place top 3, then in the East, I could say you could arguably say it's Tom Thibodeau, the way he's turned around the Knicks.
And so, what are your thoughts on the Bulls and, in particular, I guess Zach LaVine, who's having a fantastic year this year?
I already told you this, but that and because I talk to a lot of people that are Bulls fans, I'm low key turning into a Bulls fan
Yeah,
because I
kind of
love their
disrespectful,
core
but
they have.
kind of a little bit disrespectful to that sweater you're wearing. But shit, it happened again. My camera fell again. All right, we're good.
Yeah, no, my sweater really about to take it personally.
For real. This is the most scuffed episode of the podcast we've ever done because my camera has fallen like 15 times. God damn it. All right, so actually, I think we are nearing on the hour here sometime soon, in about 15 minutes. So, do you want to keep going, or do you want to call it an episode?
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I guess we could talk a little bit about football because we haven't, because that's something that I know you like to talk about. I don't really know much about it, and we haven't actually been on the podcast since the Super Bowl happened. So, give me your rundown of that.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Chiefs, but that was just the biggest disappointment I've ever seen.
Why?
It was mostly just the, the Chiefs being a little overconfident.
And what's your thought on like the Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady like thing that happened? Like the matchup.
I thought it was gonna be a great matchup between the two, considering that was like what it was for the AFC Championship when Mahomes had his MVP year.
So isn't it kind of like old goat versus young goat? You know what I mean?
That's pretty much what the whole thing was for, or the whole narrative.
Because like Patrick Mahomes like won MVP in his rookie year, I think it was.
His second year.
And then his second year, and then he like led his team and already won a Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure.
In his third year.
Yep. And then like I think Lamar Jackson won the MVP last year, right?
Yeah, I believe it was the first unanimous or second unanimous, and then also I believe he was the youngest to win it.
So tell me your thoughts on the MVP winner. I believe it was Aaron Rodgers. I believe it was. I could be wrong, but
No, it was Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, I didn't really watch much Packers, but I saw Rodgers was having a great year, and then I see people joking around saying, now I see why they drafted a quarterback in the first round and a running back last year, so they can get pissed off Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. And I mean, last time Aaron Rodgers won MVP, the Falcons 2017, 28-3, that whole situation happened. That's just all I can think about anytime I hear Aaron Rodgers MVP
Yeah,
from now on. So,
I believe that's his third. I think.
is it his third MVP?
Yeah.
All right. And what are your thoughts on like some of the trade rumors going around? There's like Dak Prescott even being rumored to be traded. There's obviously Deshaun Watson, which I think you mentioned the last time.
Bro, I seriously, why aren't they trading Deshaun? Like, it actually makes me mad when he clearly doesn't want to be there.
So it depends on what team would take him, right?
There are already
So
team
I think
there are already teams that he said his debt he'd want to go to, but I don't really know if anyone's really like offered anything because I don't think the Texans are wanting to trade him.
so. Like they would trade him to like what, the Jets or like something, the Jets or the Jaguars or some teams like that,
Yeah, we talked about this too, saying that one of the destinations he wanted to go to was the Jets.
which is a very weird trade destination. That's like somebody saying, "I want to be traded to the Kings in the NBA." I don't get it. Why would you say that? No one ever says that.
It's mo it's mostly because of the new coach,
Hmm. Okay.
and then that, and it's also I'm pretty sure it's also because if the Jets do trade, the Texans can get their first round pick, which is the second overall pick this year. So they could
So who has the
draft a
first?
quarterback.
So who has the first?
The Jaguars.
Has he said he wanted to be traded to the Jaguars?
No. And I'm pretty
Okay.
sure the Jaguars are dead set on taking Trevor Lawrence.
So are there any more trade rumors around any of the other players? Is there any trade rumors around like, I don't know, Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or any of those like elite kind of
Well, I
quarterbacks?
mean, there were rumors
Is
for Russell Wilson, and I talked to you about this a little bit, but he didn't request a trade, but he said he's voiced his frustrations with the team.
Which basically mean get me some help.
Yeah, mostly being the
It's like
offensive
LeBron
line.
2010. It's like LeBron 2010. Like I voiced my frustrations with the team. Kind of is that what you're kind of like saying? Like that type of beat?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's basically you because, like I told you, he's been the most sacked quarterback I think ever since his rookie year, and they've never really established the O line.
I
Other,
mean, like even in their Super Bowl years, it was mostly like their their
it was
their
mostly it was their
receiver.
defense.
It was their defense, but it was like their picks and like their safeties and their corners. That was really the Legion of Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then
Um, but we do have a really really nice receiving core that's pretty hard to replace for somebody like Russell Wilson. We do have like DJ Metcalf and all of them, who are really really good players, really good receivers. It is kind of hard to like you know pass that up. You know what I mean?
the problem is just that they're inconsistent.
I suppose so, but now that DJ Metcalf has like another year under his belt, he's like 24, right? So he's going to be just another year older, another year under his belt. I think it'll be a lot better this year.
Yeah, though there are a lot of people like having like the whole Randy Moss and Calvin Johnson comparisons. Cause
Like with DJ?
yeah, with DK,
Sorry, did I say DJ? Sorry,
yeah,
DK.
but
I know I like texted you like DK. Maybe I just said DJ on accident.
no, I'm pretty sure he said DK,
Yeah, that's what I was meant.
but
Like in the text.
yeah, and then they pretty much they traded their two first round picks for this year and next year for Jamal Adams.
who is a very good safety, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, even recorded the most sacks ever by a safety this year.
And what was it? Jadarius Clowney, I believe it is.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadavian Clowney.
He ended up signing with
a,
the Titans after.
So he left.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, but that didn't really work out because he kept getting hurt.
Yeah, I remember that he was a very, very good player at one point in time.
Oh yeah, here's something big though. J.J. Watt just signed with the Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know they have Kyler Murray. I don't know how he's been doing since he got drafted.
He's been doing pretty good. He has high potential, but it's just also the inconsistency thing this season because they have a top three receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, but sometimes it just looked like they didn't know what they were doing.
So there is a lot of Cam Newton slander on the timeline. How has he been?
I mean, I was trying to remain positive during the season with Cam, and he's just basically a shell of his former self.
Because I remember, actually, this is kind of the era where I followed football very loosely, and like I tried to watch the Super Bowl at least every year. I didn't really watch any of the others, but I tried to like catch the Super Bowl whenever I could. And I remember him with the Panthers making the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Like what went down from there to where he is now?
Just injuries and then just not really playing well.
Like wasn't he like didn't he win like MVP or something?
Yeah, during that Super Bowl year.
So he went from like MVP to like a Super Bowl like yeah, I don't think he won. I think he lost
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly. To like being like a really bad quarterback. Like
I actually saw something a few weeks ago saying that something about that Super Bowl being that both the Broncos and the Panthers just ended up not just being bad afterwards.
so that's actually a good. I actually have a question. So when was the last time the Steelers made the Super Bowl?
I think 2011, I believe. They lost
2011.
They lost to the Packers.
I actually remember that. So who was on that Steelers team?
I think Ben Roethlisberger, and then I don't remember. I don't know anyone else. And then there was also rookie Antonio Brown.
Right, Antonio Brown, who is now on the Buccaneers with Brady.
And ended up getting a ring, which a lot of Steelers fans are probably crying about now.
And something that I did want to mention. Shit, I just had it in my mind and I just faced it. Oh, right. So the most that I remember from football was the 07, 08 Madden games, and I remember back in the day when the Seahawks had like Sean Alexander and we made the Super Bowl and we lost to the Steelers.
And then the Madden curse came up on Sean Alexander.
Yeah, he won like MVP. He was super good, and then I don't know,
just disappeared after that.
Yeah, he bounced around for like 3 years and then pieced out of the league. And then we got really lucky with Russell Wilson since then, but
yeah, and that was in the third round too.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on Russell Wilson potential trades? Where do you think the Seahawks would potentially trade him to?
Well, I mean, the thing is, he has a no trade clause, so he has the upper hand.
Oh, yeah, I see.
But he said his destinations, I think, were Chicago, the Raiders, Dallas, and the Cowboys.
You said Dallas and Cowboys twice.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Did you mean Houston?
No, not even Houston.
Hmm. Was it like maybe the 49ers or some like Cali team or something that you just spaced?
Um, no.
Okay. Uh, so so he hasn't demanded a trade. Um, he
But
just
he,
voiced his frustrations, but he has a no trade clause.
yeah. So
So
basically,
do you?
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay, I was about to ask. Do you think like a potential like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson swap would happen?
I don't think so. Not at all.
Not at all.
They'd both just be getting put in the same situation they're in right now.
Fair enough. So do you think that there's any potential for like bettering the offensive line for the Seahawks? Do you think they have enough trade assets or enough cap space to get anybody?
Honestly, don't know their cap situation.
Not even like a little bit.
Not at all.
Well, do you think they have the trade assets? You know, like their draft picks and like the kind of like the players they have on their roster.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they traded their two first. One that their first this year, and then their first last year. So
For Jamal Adams.
that's kind of out of the conversation.
For Jamal Adams, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And who are some players that you might want the Seahawks to target for the
Um,
offensive line?
someone like Joe
For the
Tooney. I think Brandon Sheriff, and one of the players on the Ravens, Orlando Brown Jr.
Orlando Brown Jr. I know his father.
Yeah, and
I know who Orlando Brown is. Orlando Brown Jr. That's an interesting one. I haven't heard that one actually.
that because honestly, because Orlando Brown Jr. wants to be traded because he wants to play left tackle, but we just paid our you superstar left tackle.
Okay. And then what position is he playing right now?
He had to play left tackle but he originally was playing right tackle.
Okay, so he's playing right tackle right now, right?
That's what he was playing before, but then because our star left tackle got hurt for the season, he had to take over at left tackle, but he played
Hmm.
great there.
And do you think that the that your team would be willing to give him up for like a second or a third or something?
We kind of have to, but I'm hoping they get at least a first out of out of him.
Well, that's not happening if it's like the Seahawks that would trade for him. And
Yeah,
um, do you think that the Texans would be willing to try to trade for him? If they're in similar situations, might want to put a better team around Deshaun Watson rather than trying to trade him.
they well, the thing is with the Texans, they don't have their first or second round picks this year. They traded those to Miami for their star left tackle right now.
Okay, so they did try actually getting help for Deshaun Watson.
They just overpaid or overdid it with the picks.
And I know Deshaun Watson's receiving core is actually pretty good, right?
Not really.
I remember it was.
It
Sorry.
was, yeah.
Okay, that must be what I'm remembering. I'm probably remembering like what 2018 or something.
2018, 2019.
Yeah, figures. Um, so what are your predictions for this upcoming season?
Um, I'd say it's a little too early to be talking about that because I still want to see the draft and then the free agency.
So who do you got in the draft? I don't know if we talked about this last time.
We didn't, but um, first pick, no doubt, it's gonna be Trevor Lawrence.
And he's a quarterback, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Okay.
he,
Uh, what do you like about him? Why do you think he's like no doubt the number one pick?
it's mostly because every coming out of high school, he's been he's been talked about as being like a once in a generational quarterback.
And what college did he go to?
Clemson.
Clemson. And how was his college stats? Were they like up to par with that kind of
He
general theme?
hold up, I'm trying to remember. I believe he's only lost twice in his college career.
And he's been there for what, 3 years?
Yeah,
Okay. So why aren't players more one and done like they are in the
because they
NBA?
have the rule set where you have to go at least 3 years.
Why?
I honestly don't know, but I actually like that. Either go to 3 or 4 years.
Well, wouldn't you kind of want to see like longer careers with like 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds who spend like a year or two in college? Oh, I know why they probably do it. It's so that the college like football, like the colleges can get their fucking money.
Yeah,
I had the I had the guess. That's probably why.
that, and I think it mostly has to do with education, if I remember correctly. But I
Yeah, that's probably some bullshit reason they just tagged on to just like say, oh no, it's for the education, not for the money. You know what I mean?
yeah, I could see that though, and but I'm having this conversation with my dad before, where it's like, especially for basketball, where if someone's gonna commit to a college, it should be at least 3 to 4 years.
I think that it should be a player should have decision on when he enters the NBA, whether that be straight out of high school, whether it's 1 year in college, 2 years in college, 3 years in colleges, or a full 4 years in college. I
Yeah,
think that a player should have full choice.
yeah, I could see that too.
I think that there were a lot of like busts, kind of from that era, but I also think that's kind of more on the fault of the teams for not scouting as well as they should have. Back whenever like high school players were allowed to be drafted, there was like Kwame Brown. There were a lot of like high school players that just didn't
Especially in,
pan out.
I think, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, but also, hey, to be fair, in the 80s and 70s, there were a lot of draft busts. A lot of draft busts.
Yeah,
Okay. So you can't really necessarily blame it on the lack of college or whatever, because sometimes uh, the NBA just goes through that period where they just draft some busts. It happens. There's like a natural cycle, um, which I don't think we're gonna have for another couple of years. You could say that like Markel Fultz is a bust. I think he played well enough so far to say that he's not totally a lost cause. Same with even like Lonzo Ball. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Speaking of Lonzo Ball, he's actually been playing super well. Have you seen his stats?
yeah. It's actually that I like the improvement.
So, do you think Lonzo Ball's going to get traded, or do you think it's going to stay?
Well, I mean, I think he's gonna stay.
You don't think the Pelicans are going to trade him?
Well, it's mostly because of Eric Bledsoe. Cause I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna try and flip him.
So, what team's realistically going to trade for Eric Bledsoe, though?
Yeah, that's a fair
That's
point.
that's yeah, that's exactly the thing, right? Like, what team's realistically going to trade for Eric Bledsoe? Like, the only reason the Pelicans Eric Bledsoe traded for him is because they wanted something in return for Drew Holiday, and they got
Yeah,
a lot of picks, like 3 picks. I think Kira Lewis has been playing pretty decently this season. Emmanuel Quickly has been playing pretty good. Zeke Nyaji for the Denver Nuggets has been playing pretty well, as well as their backup point guard, Campazzo. I'm not sure if you've watched many Nuggets games.
I haven't.
Yeah, so you should probably look to see at Campazzo. He's even like started some of the games. Anthony Edwards has some of these like big time plays, even in like bad games where he's playing pretty awfully, which is always good to see.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people just have mixed feelings. Like it's like one minute he'll have a highlight, and then the next people are just gonna say, "Oh, but he wasn't effective from the field."
All right. Well, I think that's probably going to be it for us today. I think we've gone a little bit over an hour, which is perfectly fine with me. But do you have any closing statements or anything you want to say?
I don't.
All right. Well, this has been the Sean Andreas Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at name your Twitter.
Oh yeah, Purple Pony 15, Purple PWNY 15.
And you can find me on Twitter at the Faceless Merc, spelled exactly as it sounds, no spaces or underscores or anything. And that's going to be it for the Sean Andreas Podcast. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment down below any feedback you want, and make sure to hit the subscribe button.
All right, that's it. Thank y'all for watching. See you later.
Thank you. Goodbye.